Once a month or so, we welcome automotive sleuth reporter Jeremy Cato back to Studio 4 to talk with us about cars, trucks, SUVs, car makers, car moguls, and car designers. It is my pleasure to welcome columnist, broadcaster, car guy Jeremy Cato back to Studio 4 to tell us more. If I'm not reading you in the Globe and Mail or seeing you on Car Biz, I see you here. Welcome back.
Sleuthing around, yeah.
I thought that was good. Well, you are a bit of an automotive sleuth. You have to be.
Well, one of the things I write every week for the Globe, which is an exclusively online thing, is called Deals of the Week, and I actually do a little sleuthing to find out where the deals are. And you know, I pick four, like what I think represent very good deals, and then I go and find the dealer invoice price and all the cut rate finances, the cash incentives, all that sort of stuff. And there's the market's awash in that stuff right now.
So is the new little Fiat a deal?
No.
Darn.
No, it's not.
I like it.
Well, I mean, there's a demand. I mean, you know, there's a demand for that car, and there's a limited supply. So the Cinquecento,
yes,
is hot. You know, because there's only a limited availability for that, and give it a year, and there'll be a deal on it next year, because what's new is what sells.
Exactly. Yeah. And you were in New York last, I think.
Yeah, in
show?
Late spring, yeah, in the New York Auto Show, which is always, you know, it's always fun to go to New York in the springtime because the weather's usually good, and, you know, New York's got a great vibe to it, you know, and I love
did you see any sporting activities in New York, or did you go to a Broadway play?
No, I worked, you know.
Oh, of course you did.
My life is...
But don't they swan you around a bit when you go to a New York show?
What did I had dinner in a sports bar one night and watched some of the
that not Balthazar?
No. But, you know, when I was a sports writer back in the day in Edmonton, Glenn Sather was running the Edmonton Oilers. He runs the New York Rangers now. And he sent me a note years ago when I competed against him in a celebrity car race.
Right.
Me, a celebrity. Can you believe that?
Well.
How ridiculous.
Sure.
Anyway, and he said, anytime you're in New York, you know, give me a call. And every time I'm there, I just don't have the time, but I've got like this standing invitation to go see the Rangers in the Garden, and I've never seen a game in the Garden.
You're kidding. Well, I know Glenn Sather. We used to play golf.
Did you?
Occasionally in Jasper, Alberta.
When I did that, I'll tell you a very quick story about Glenn. When I was a sports writer, I had to interview him after games and stuff, and Glenn is not a guy that sports writers like very much, typically. So I did this celebrity thing, and we had to do a skip.
Like Brian Burke.
Well, but Brian Burke likes the press. He just likes to use the press. And
he knows how to.
Yes.
He's very smart.
Very aggressive, very bombastic. And Glenn was just like, really, I don't like you guys very much. And anyway, so we were doing the Skip Barber 3-day race car course. And I walked in, and I hadn't seen Glenn in at least a decade when we did. He's over there smoking his big stogie in the corner.
Sure.
And I walk in, and he looks at me, and I looked at him, and I gave him a little wave, because I didn't know if he remembered me, because he sees a million guys like me. And he recognized me, and he did his little I'm the king of the world thing. And I walked over and said, hi, Glenn, how are you? And he says, I remember you. You're that, and he used a big profanity, who used to ask all the stupid questions. You know, that was Glenn. So, but over 3 days we hung out, you know, we had dinner. And
how great.
It was really fun, but he
there
remembered my stupid questions, which was interesting.
Well, we don't like that.
No. Well,
no. Let's talk about crossovers then instead of stupid questions. What is a crossover exactly?
Well, it's a station wagon. I mean, it's a car-based sport utility. And you know, the marketplace, when I was, you know, in
young.
18, 20, wait a minute here. I had somebody just the other day tell me that they didn't even think I was middle-aged, which I thought, well, that's pretty
that's
cool.
Good. Well,
yeah.
Did they say a number?
Middle age was over 60.
Really?
Yeah, I thought, wow, that's...
Well, you're not over 60.
Oh, God, not even close. Come on, Fanny. You know, yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, and I feel Anyway, you know, we're talking about the modern day, the 21st century station wagon. You know, in the old days, there was the, you know, Chevy Caprice and the Ford Town and Country. And remember the Country Squire with the plastic wood panels?
Had one.
Oh, God, really?
Copper.
Oh, my gosh.
With the wooden panel?
Oh, yeah, one of the ugliest things ever.
I know.
Yeah, pretty, and all that dirt and grime and junk would collect underneath.
It was a family car.
Well, back then when station wagons were popular, they were just cars that were elongated, which had a door at the back. Now, you know, the sport utility craze came in the 90s, the Explorer went crazy. You know, Ford used to sell more than 400,000 Explorers a year at one time.
Really?
It was crazy, right? But that was a Ford Ranger pickup.
Right.
With a car body on top. The top hat was a car body. Now we've evolved to get rid of the pickup part of it, and now it's back to a car-based with just a tall body, and that's a crossover.
Well, I think you said in your column, hello, tall, mid-size wagon, so long, SUV.
Yeah.
And you didn't write anything about the Country Squire, my old car. Maybe they'll do a retro Squire. Who knows?
Well, retro doesn't sell. You know, it's a very rare car that harkens back to the past that actually resonates.
Sure.
Maybe the Cinquecento is one of the examples.
But that Chrysler, the retro Chrysler they brought in?
Well, there were, then the PT Cruiser. You're
That's the
one
I'm thinking of.
I mean, that had about a 2-year shelf life, and then all of a sudden it got really old really fast.
So if you have a PT Cruiser, value down?
Oh, I mean, they're pretty much worthless. I mean, yeah.
That'd be something I'd buy, but I didn't.
Well,
perfect.
I mean, it's a discontinued model. The engineering was pretty old, and it was a neon underneath of it, which was a lamentable car to begin with.
Yeah.
But very practical little hatchback. I mean, that was a little station wagon fundamentally. Just a little with kind of cool boxy styling and a very practical car. And they were so cheap, especially at the end. You could get one for 10 grand before.
Margaret Trudeau had one.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah,
what I know?
Maggie, I mean...
Maggie had a convertible, as I recall.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good one to have, though. I'd have taken the hatchback version, because the convertible, when you take the roof off a car, tends to make everything a little bit noodly.
Okay.
Yeah, which is,
I
if you don't reinforce it really,
yeah. So
really
let's take the Dodge on a journey, shall we? The 2011 Dodge Journey. You say it's a Pentastar V6?
Well, I mean, Chrysler, which if you read Globe and Mail last week, I wrote a big piece about.
I wouldn't miss your
Yeah,
column.
I'm sure you did. And one of the things that Chrysler did to the Dodge Journey was improve the interior dramatically. So the interior up until 2010 was just a horrible mess of hard plastic. It was noisy, not very well put together.
Right.
The colors didn't match. The graining was horrible. So the interior's been upgraded, and they've added a new V6 engine choice, which is a modern V6 engine. It's not their old cruddy minivan
Four-banger.
Or you can get a 4-cylinder, yeah. And this thing starts around 22 grand. You can get a nicely loaded one for around 30. Chrysler's got all kinds of deals out there.
And a hot color.
I think it's a nice looking vehicle. And Chrysler Canada has basically 3 vehicles that it sells in big volumes: the Ram pickup, the minivan, and this. And it's, for a family that needs space and can't afford a lot of fancy car, for 25, 26 grand, you got a fully loaded, you can get 7 passengers, and it's a reasonable car. Okay,
well, the president of Ford Canada was here, your friend.
David Mondragon.
Yes, he was, and he promised to send me a Ford, but it hasn't come yet. Well, he said, I'll get you into a Ford before next year. We'll see.
Oh, gosh. I was doing an interview.
Did you mention that?
I will. I'm going to see Dave in a couple of weeks.
Okay, tell him I was waiting for this Ford to arrive at the door.
I'm going to
I said I'd pay for it if he could convince me to drive one.
Which Ford?
He didn't say.
Oh.
But he knows I like black cars, I think.
Well, I personally would put you in a
Silver?
Ford. I'd put you in a Ford Focus Titanium, 30 grand, every electronic bell and whistle you can come up with. Very fun little hatchback.
And in that dark gray color, that titanium?
Yeah.
Or is it called the titanium?
Titanium model, but you can get it in a dark gray.
Okay, and a titanium. I like
car.
that.
Very fun
Don't tell the BMW
I'm going to
guys.
send him a note saying, Fanny asked where the car is.
I know.
Yeah.
Please. Okay, and on to the Ford Edge. Tell me about that.
Well, this is not the car that Mondragon's going to send you, but this is a crossover. I was just in the factory in Oakville where this is actually manufactured. It's an interesting experience to go through a car plant because they're not what you think they are. They're clean, they're well organized people. Anyway, this crossover, again, loaded with lots of bells and whistles. Consumer Reports has been, and I agree with some of the criticism, very critical about the touchscreen display and the My Ford Touch system, which is how they manage the electronic controls. So this has got voice activation and a touch screen and some other buttons and whistles. Not always worked well, and even Ford has come out and said that it launched with a bit of a glitch to it, and they swear to up and down on 17 Bibles that they fixed all their issues. And it's important to Ford because Ford's clearly got the best quality. Well,
17 Bibles should work.
It should work,
Ford Explorer, we talked about that briefly.
Well, I think this is a winner. I mean, I talked about the old one, which was truck-based. It was a Ford Ranger. This is car-based. Underneath that big hulking body there.
Not so square.
That's a Ford Taurus car.
Picture.
That's a Ford Taurus car underneath there, and so what you get is very good ride and handling, some excellent, electronic controls, which I think do work,
right.
and you got a 5,000-pound towing capacity, all four in the 30,000 plus range. You can get front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and it also has a 4-cylinder turbocharged option, which will give you exceptional fuel economy, which has just gone on sale. I love that EcoBoost system, and if you're worried about the fuel economy, that's your option over the V6 engine.
Okay, then, and I could always put myself into a Hyundai. My daughter had a Hyundai Santa Fe, and it lasted forever, and it was when she was learning to drive.
The Santa Fe?
Yeah, well, not learning, but not paying attention perhaps as much as she should have been.
I got a 17-year-old who's going to get his license this month. His full.
Oh, good.
Good
luck.
As I was saying,
no, they just come home and your car doesn't have mirrors and there's a dent in the back, and they have no idea how that happened. Well, they just don't know.
We're having discussions about this right now.
I bet you are.
You're not nearly as proficient as you think you are, and there's a lot to learn. But I did put him through a Porsche driving school on the racetrack.
You did? How great.
Which was really fun. Anyway, the Santa Fe is a killer deal because there's a new version coming this year. Hyundai's throwing massive amounts of money at the marketplace.
Right.
If you are paying more than 25 or 26 grand for a really well-equipped Santa Fe, you're paying too much.
Too much. Kia Sorento?
Well, I mean, this is a lovely, another crossover. I mean, they've done a really good job with this, and another killer buy, new for this year. Again, Kia and Hyundai, which same company, different brand, same company, are they've got a currency advantage right now because
Are we Korean? What?
Korean, yeah,
Korean.
South Korean,
yes.
and these vehicles are steals. These, Hyundai's gonna sell 150,000 vehicles in Canada this year, something close to that.
Really? So it's a little faster than the original Hyundai, who had trouble getting up the hill.
Oh yeah, and rusted on its way. I mean, that quality is not a problem with Hyundai at all. These vehicles are that Sorento, a lot of not that one, but a lot of vehicles are manufactured in North America now, and killer deals. I mean,
and most popular car, Toyota, still with the recall and all of that still there.
Well, Toyota and Hyundai are having this battle about which is the biggest passenger car company just for cars. Now, this is considered a light truck, this Highlander here,
right?
And really another. I just got an email from Toyota Canada highlighting all the deals they've got. Remember, Toyota has been hit by the double whammy, that quality recall issue, and the earthquake tsunami crisis in Japan has really hindered supply. They're just rebuilding their manufacturing capability and trying to recapture buyers who were turned off because they didn't have supply. So there are great deals on a Highlander out there, several $1,000s in cash incentives, 0% I mean, if you're paying anything for financing right now, you're paying too much. 0% on anything you buy.
0%?
If you don't get 0%, then go someplace else and buy a different car.
And would you lease or would you buy? Or
I would buy a car. Yeah, I mean, leasing is you're renting a car for the rest of your life, and there's no, unless you want to change your car every 3 years, which is a lifestyle choice, or you've got an employer subsidy or something like that. There's no reason that...
Is there such a thing
as
that? I've got to call Mr. Shaw again.
Well, which one?
Well, that's the thing. Maybe I'll try the other one this time, see how it works.
See if it works better.
See if it works better. Now, the 2011 Toyota Venza, is that an all-wheel drive?
Well, it can be. I mean, this is classic. This is a Camry station wagon. Very nice, driving family vehicle. I think the styling's pretty cool, drives well. And again, mid-20s for a well-equipped Venza front-wheel drive version with a 4-cylinder engine. I mean, you've got your family station wagon there. It's just a little taller. Now, this is a good one because it's not as high as a lot of these crossovers. A lot of people... shorter people, women in short skirts, don't want to climb up into these things.
That's true because, well, either the short skirt, we used to wear long, tight ones, and you were always splitting those when you were trying to...
Not a good thing, not a good thing. So the Venza's
do
got
a cartwheel.
Right, so a little, what in the business is called a hip point, so the point where your hip gets into the vehicle, a little lower, a good vehicle. If you just, you got to call the kids hockey gear, or the grandkids hockey gear, or whatever, or your ski gear, your golf clubs. You must be out golfing. I mean,
golfing, yes, and we go to hip hop, so it doesn't have much gear.
No.
You just need a costume.
Yeah, but you do have golf clubs.
I have golf clubs.
Yeah,
I haven't used them this year.
You better get out.
Have you used yours? You probably have.
Well, I used them in January. I played one round in January when I was on vacation, and that was it. So,
well, I feel I played golf because I watched the Open.
Wasn't that good?
Oh my gosh.
This kid's the Rory McIlroy.
Rory, are you
he's the
kidding
real
me?
deal. He's the
Are
real
you
deal.
What was he,
And
15
Isn't he
under
the
or something?
anti-Tiger?
Anti-Tiger.
He is the anti-Tiger.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about Tiger anymore. Tiger's
know.
such old news.
He
He's
was
so
like
yesterday.
missing, and I know he's hurt. So we'll see. You know, he could come back.
Well,
Tiger.
he's more hurt than you can imagine. I mean, you know, I know
Hurt
your
in
next
many
guess
ways.
is The Way of the Happy Woman.
And I think
he
the
needs
sequel,
to go find the way of the happy man because
yes,
he's not there.
Well, happy wife, happy life.